Hello, CrazyCat690 here, and I would like to talk a bit about the essential NPCs that you can find in the role-playing games made by Bethesda. Now, if you've played an open-world sandbox game, or any sandbox game, you will have at some point had the urge to just go nuts and start killing everything. Now, if you do it in a Bethesda game, you may notice that not everyone stays dead. Yes, that's right. When you shoot them, they just keep getting up. Are they gods that's come down to Earth to see what us mortals are doing? No. They're marked as essential by Bethesda, because for some reason they feel that they are somehow essential to the game. That if they die, you won't have a great experience or something. I don't know. Now, the thing is, I understand why they do it. It's some characters are essential to the main story, and if they die, it will stop you from completing the game. So and companions as well. I mean, I see the logic behind it, that if they die it's an you'll just reload the last save to bring them back to life, and that making them immortal was a way to stop that. I understand the reasoning with the companions, at least, even though it takes away tension from wandering the dangerous wasteland. I mean, it leads to weird situations where you use your companions as meat shields. Like I used dog meat. I used him to attract those mutant suiciders, knowing that he couldn't possibly be killed by them. So I saw the mushroom cloud and figured, alright, now just move in to kill the less dangerous ones. Or anyone who survived, because those suiciders often kill their friends too, so. But that's besides the point. What was I? So while I understand that they've done this, it does take away the lot of the tension and consequence of your actions. I mean, if you play as a bad character, you should face the consequences of not being friends with everyone, or not being able to do certain things because you've gone ahead and shot them in the face. Now that's a deliberate use of words, because if you remember last year's E3 conference where Todd Howard went up on the stage and he talked about how when you first meet Codsworth you have all these options, that you can go and engage in dialogue, or you can walk away, or you can just shoot him in the face, and everyone laughed. Now, I get why that's funny, because if you do, he won't die. He's essential. So what's the point? He'll hate you or something, but he'll always get up no matter how much you shoot him in the face. So it's not a valid option, because it doesn't really do anything. It's dumb. It's dumb. And what's even dumber is that the solution to this is right in Fallout 4. I mean, I noticed that if you have a companion when you go on one of these rampages and they shoot settler without a name who isn't marked as essential. At least for me, they didn't die when my companion shot them, but I could still do the killing blow. And I thought this was quite interesting, and this is how they should be handled. I mean, if the player wants to kill anyone, like if we take the conquered settlers again, like everyone hates the long couple or Mama Murphy, and if you want to shoot them, you should be able to kill them. they're not essential in any way. And I get that Bethesda want them to stay alive for the mission, but really it's so simple to just make them immortal to the environment while the player can kill them. I understand that they don't want NPCs that's important to missions to be killed by a random raider encounter or random deathclaw. I get that. That would not be very fun if the mission you're doing is failed because of an unforeseen and random event. But that could be fixed by just having them be immortal to the world. I mean, it wouldn't be very realistic and all, but it's not that right now either. I mean, why can't you kill everyone? I mean, Fallout has always been about choice and consequence, and Fallout 4 is severely lacking that very thing. I mean, there's choice in it, but there's no consequence. I mean, you can pretty much do anything and people will just forgive you. You can't kill anyone who's even slightly important, like again, the Concord settlers. They're not essential in any way to anything unless you want to do the Minutemen questline. And if you don't care about that, I see no reason why you wouldn't be able to kill them. Only Preston has any importance in that, maybe Sturgis too, but none of the other ones. So it's quite mind-boggling that they oversaturate their games with these essential NPCs. It feels like a very contrived way to control the player in games that they advertise as free. That's a big selling point for their games, right? That they're free, that you can do anything really. And well, I get that you can do a lot of things. Like Bethesda games are pretty free, but they're not that free that it's not really a big selling point. I mean, if they insist on controlling your experience this much, like New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas by Obsidian was much better in this regard. I think there was only one NPC that couldn't be killed, only to make sure that there's at least one way of finishing the game if you decide to kill everyone else. And if you do kill everyone else, you will have a hard time completing the game since you won't have many allies left. But overall, it's the better way to go, since then there won't be anything that restricts your role playing. I mean, if you want to role play as someone who is an evil bastard who would rather just kill and rob the settlers at Concord, then by all means you should be able to do that. I mean, you should even be able to side with the raiders. But you know, Fallout 4 was maybe a game that more focused on other things. It seems like they were too busy polishing up the gameplay a bit, graphics, even though these things aren't on a level that we're used to in other games. It's likely that they spent a lot of time polishing it up and adding the settlement building mechanics. But if they won't let you be free and want to control your experience, it's not really good for them to not have anything to be up to standards. I mean, Bethesda games have always been given a free pass because they're so free and you can do so much and there's so much content. But if they take away that, if they take away the choice, freedom, consequences, everything, then they need to be on par with other open world shooters, and that's a very common thing to do these days, and they're not really on par. The animations are stiff, physics are pretty bad, and graphics are, well, they're not the best. And these are things you could overlook if the game was deep, but the game isn't deep. And it's a big problem. I mean, when you first come to Diamond City, why can't you just shoot your way in? You can, if you're strong enough, you should be able to like Hulk your way in, like kill the guards and threaten them and maybe break in or something. But instead you're faced with, you meet this essential NPC which will help you get in, and then you're faced with a trivial dialogue where none of what you say matters really. So it all feels very shallow. It's quite depressing to see where Fallout has gone, and Bethesda for that matter. I mean, you can enjoy their earlier games, and I'm pretty sure most people prefer them because this their latest game, Fallout 4, is while it's has better gameplay than their previous games, it's a worse game than their previous attempts, if that makes any sense. I mean, I enjoy Fallout 4 a lot. That has to be said. It's not a bad game, and I like it a lot. But as a role-playing Fallout game, it's pretty bad. If I had to give Bethesda advice for their next game, whatever that might be, I'd say don't control the player so much. Trust that they'll do what they want, and if what they want is to mess up their own experience, then let them. Don't treat their fans like babies who can't handle the consequence of being bad. I mean, if you shoot important character in the face, you should be able to do it, and they should die, and you should suffer the consequence from that. People don't play their games to shoot things, especially not shoot things that won't die as a result. So it just feels so unnecessary when the solution is right there. I'll think I'll leave it at that. Hope this rant wasn't too incoherent.